Our brains are fantastically powerful information processing systems. They take in information from the world around us through our eyes, our ears, and our other senses, and they process or transform that sensory information into rich internal representations. Representations that we can then use to make useful decisions, to navigate effectively without running into things, and ultimately to stay alive. And interestingly, our brains can also tell us when they're doing a good job with all of this processing through a process called metacognition, or our ability to monitor our own cognitive processing. My name is Megan Peters, and I'm an Associate Professor of Cognitive Sciences at UC Irvine. I'm also a Fellow in the Canadian Institute for Advanced Research Brain, Mind, and Consciousness program, and I'm President and Chair of the Board at Neuromatch. My research seeks to understand metacognition, how it works in the brain and how it works at a computational or algorithm level. And it also seeks to understand what this metacognitive processing might have to do with the conscious experiences we have of our environments, of each other, and of ourselves. So in our research group, we use a combination of behavioral experiments with humans, brain imaging like MRI scans, and computational approaches like mathematical modeling and machine learning, or artificial intelligence, to try to unravel these mysteries. I think my favorite overall line of research right now has to do with cases where our brain's self-monitoring sometimes seems to go wrong. So what I mean is, sometimes your brain metacognitively computes how well it thinks you're doing at this sensory information processing task, but this ends up being completely different from how you're actually doing. So imagine it this way. You're driving down a foggy road at night in the dark. You probably can't see very well, and you'd hope that your brain would also be able to tell you, I can't see super well right now, so I should probably slow down. And most of the time, your brain does this self-monitoring totally correctly, and you do slow down. But sometimes, under some kinds of conditions of visual information, your brain actually miscalculates, and it erroneously tells you, you can see totally fine right now. So this is a sort of metacognitive illusion. Your brain is essentially telling you, you're doing great, you can see very clearly. But in reality, the quality of the information that it's receiving and the processing that it's doing is really poor, it's really bad. So in essence, that means that you can feel totally confident in your abilities to accurately process the world around you, but in fact, you're interpreting the world totally incorrectly. Now, normally in everyday life, this doesn't happen, of course, but we can create conditions in the lab where this happens very robustly, which helps us understand when and how it might happen in the real world too, and what the consequences might be. So this is really fascinating because both because it's a powerful tool for studying how your brain constructs that metacognitive feeling of confidence, and also because in theory, it means that your subjective conscious feeling of confidence might be doing something really different than just automatically or directly reading out how well your brain is doing, how reliably your brain is processing information. And that could eventually provide a better way to investigate how our so-called phenomenological or conscious experiences can arise from activity and patterns in your brain at all.